247.
247. Hey guys, today we're going to talk about shooting a Texas Star. This is a Texas Star. I don't know if you guys are fortunate enough to have this at one of the ranges that you frequent. We're going to talk about different ways that you can engage a Texas Star. The one you saw here at the intro is probably the most common, and that is to take this top plate out. That way none of this really moves. And then you can pick a side. I went to the right, and now as I hit that, that weight is going to shift and bring these plates up. I kind of cheated and it was coming down to meet them. But a lot of times you'll see people that'll wait until these targets will kind of come up in their dwell time, and they'll hang out typically right around here to knock the rest of the plates off. If you do that efficiently, you're probably looking at somewhere around 3 to 3¼ seconds to clean this. So how careful you would want to be if you're in a match, you probably don't want to waste time missing or shooting these out of order, as it can change the weight and it'll start moving around in different directions and potentially more violently. Another engagement strategy, and we'll try this out and just see if we see any noticeable difference in time, is to basically take out the top plate, hit the sides, you know, pick one and go to the other immediately. And if you're quick enough, the goal is that this bottom section really shouldn't move. So we're going to kind of experiment today and see if we can figure out which one is more consistent and which one's faster, and maybe they'll be the same thing. So let's get to it.
So I'm going to go for the bottom targets first so that we can demonstrate what happens with the target when you go out of order.
Stand by.
Oh boy.
702.
That got some speed behind it. I still was able to complete it, but yeah, that's hard. It's going fast and quick too. Like it starts going fast real quick. If that makes sense.
And quick. I'm going to shoot it in a way that I think would be the most advantageous. It's not perfectly centered, so I'll take one of the top plates and then try to work it clockwise. It will start spinning counterclockwise though, but I'm going to be trying to track it in a clockwise manner.
Stand by.
I really took my time on there because I wanted to make sure like 100% I'd hit every plate. But as it starts rotating, you don't have to move the gun and your sights very much to land on the next target, and just predict that it's going to cross paths with your sight, break the shot. It can be pretty simple, but
So it's more, you're more trapping it, right? When you're doing that, it's coming in, you don't have to move as much and you're just trapping it.
if you're super good and fast, you will have to move more to try to catch up to the plate, or you can shoot it in another order. Much higher risk, but we might try to demonstrate that. But it only works if you're fast.
So if you were competing versus us just being out here on the range, I think I would probably take the safer approach and not push it, because like the more you spend time missing, the more the adrenaline shoots up and the more you're like,
Yeah.
You know? So
yeah, your whole game plan kind of goes out the window.
So my preferred method is the same as pretty much everyone here. It's start with the top and then I work to the right, personally. I don't know why I go right or left, but I go right.
401.
So not the fastest, but clean.
Yeah, clean, repeatable. Great job.
Yeah, I think if I was zigzagging, for me, much less reliable of a method.
Yeah, so it's all about your own skill set and what you know you are capable of, because you're probably going to shoot it faster if you shoot it clean rather than trying to make up for misses and
Agreed.
Changing game plans mid-game.
Yeah, very much agreed.
I'm going to try a different method. I've seen this also done out there, and the guys that pull it off do really well, which is take that top plate, left plate, right plate, and then the bottom two plates. So I'm kind of zigzagging across this target. And if you're quick enough, you can negate the movement that's going to happen. So that's the only problem is I think it's high risk, high reward. When it works great. And if it doesn't, it could screw you over pretty good. and we're gonna see what that looks like. Either one.
Stand by.
High reward.
Yeah.
254.
I feel pretty good about that, and it's about the same time as going quickly the other way. So I might opt for the other way where they're kind of coming to me and I have minimal movement instead of doing such wide transitions there.
Yeah.
So both can be effective. I would opt for my preferred way. So sometimes if you have to shoot a plate rack, it doesn't always cooperate. This one isn't actually too bad. Sometimes you'll see them where they're like this. So all you'd have to do for a game plan is understand whichever one you decide to take, which way those plates are gonna start moving, right? And then I like them when they're coming up into where I'm shooting. So if this is sitting like this and I fire, I know that this is going to drop on this side because this plate's higher over here, right? So if this situation occurs, I'm most likely gonna go over here to this side because I can shoot and expect this one to be coming up just a little bit, and then I'll shoot that, and the rest of this weight will pendulum, and then I can kind of work my way through the rest that are coming up from the bottom. That's just my preferred method. I am not a professional. If you think this is good advice, put it on forums and make fun of it. So I'm gonna start with the topmost plate, and the way it is, just like we explained, I'm gonna go to the left side.
Stand by. $279.
So that's just an open Texas Star, some methods you can try. The biggest thing I would say is grip sights trigger and don't panic. If you throw one, just recover well by hitting it instead of, you know, starting to just shoot faster and spray and pray. I'm only saying that because that's who I am. Now, sometimes you'll see this where the star is partially obscured. It's basically the same thing. You're gonna shoot and have these come up into view. The only thing that could be bad is if you're not more precise and you miss and that bottom one settles. It's probably still visible with the way we have this here. Maybe we'll make it a little harder on the boys and do that. Basically, you want to get those plates moving to where they'll come into view and make sure that you're ready to hit it.
I'm gonna give it a go. I've never tried it like this. It looks interesting and fun, so I am excited to try it, but hopefully I don't embarrass myself. For the record, I know you can see those two on the right, but we're pretending you can't. So, you pretend to.
Stand by. Hey, 614. So that's interesting. That killed the momentum.
It did.
More than I thought it would. You recovered. It was still visible enough.
We moved the barrels even a little bit more. So this way, from the shooting position, you can only see the two on the left. Can't see the top one, can't see the two right ones. So this potentially changes your game plan a little bit. I mean, you only have two options to start with. Either one you hit will cause the star to start spinning clockwise. So you just, if you want it to spin faster or slower, pick the top or bottom accordingly.
So, pros and cons of this situation is when the top plate's there, there's some movement going, but it's not that much movement, right? Because it's not far from being balanced out. Whereas this, you could potentially shoot it quicker instead of having to wait for those to appear, because when you hit this, that's really going to start moving. So if you're pretty quick with, you know, the first two or three, I think it might get you a quicker overall time.
This is all hypothetical.
Yeah.
Best case scenario if you're making your hits. So.
Science.
Also, we forgot to mention we are at 10 yards or 30 feet. I think that's probably a standard distance.
Stand by. .587.
So that's a great example of how missing a target in motion can hurt you, because it started to move back the opposite direction, which is not what I wanted. I wanted it to continue that momentum clockwise, but I missed, so it started to move back. So I had to hit it, wait for it again to get going the direction I needed and come into visibility.
For funsies, I'm gonna try this where I have to start more on the left.
Stand by. 2-8.
So that's the difference. If you just be patient and guarantee the first shot, it'll work out. Because if you throw it and it changes directions, I mean, you're adding 1 to 3 seconds, something like that.
Stand by.
Ah! I did what you're not supposed to, Stu. But fortunately, there was enough momentum for that plate to come back out the other side of the barrel again.
586. I did the same thing.
It's real bad when that plate, you keep missing it and it just gets less and less exposed every time. Now we're gonna have a little bit of fun and we're gonna add a mandatory transition in between every plate you hit on the Texas Star. So what that's gonna do is the movement of that Texas Star could be anywhere. So it'll be plate 2, plate 2, plate 2, so on, so forth. So you'll finish on the paper target. So plate first, then paper, and then your last 2 shots will be on the paper. This is kind of a patience thing, I think, for me, because I'm running a 17 round mag, one in the chamber, so I got 18 rounds. If I throw 3 by being impatient, I just added a reload to the mix.
Stand by. It looks clean to me.
All alphas got a center line break on 1.
Just for funsies, we decided to score all this up as if this were a match and run a hit factor scoring on this. So he shot that in 7.47 seconds. And there were a total of 15 shots worth a total of 75 points, if that makes sense. So 5 points per shot. If you were to throw a Charlie, that'd be down 2. If you were to miss a plate or not clear a plate, that'd be -5, right? You know, just normal USPSA scoring. So total hit factor, 75 points divided by 7.47 is a 10.04.
Stand by.
Dude, I love dropping those last
It's your second
shot.
It was your second shot.
On the last 3 strings on the cardboard.
Yeah.
Okay, so 75
Sign up for
points,
instruction.
down 2, down 6. So that is 69 points. Divided by, what was my time on that?
8.94.
8.94. Hit factor of 7.71. A little bit slower than Jared and paid for it dearly with those 3 Charlies.
Stand by.
Oh,
Very nice. 953.
Oh, nice.
That is a 953.
so one thing that everybody did but no one talked about yet is all of us, I think, go right normally, and this time because our transition was to the left, we went left so that your transition is less distance.
Go 75.
75 divided by
953.
9.53. So my hit factor was 787 if we're rounding up.
I'm gonna try this again. The first time, I think I had around like a 10 hit factor. I was trying to be careful. Now, I like to, when I come to the range, to get into exploration mode where I'm missing and throwing some shots and stuff, because that's the area I like to live in when I'm on the range, because that's how I feel like I improve.
Stand by. .605, 73 points total divided by 605 for a hit factor of 12.06. So big improvement over his first round.
Yeah, so trimming off like what, 1.5 seconds, even with a Charlie, still provided. So I'm being overly cautious.
Bye.
Little struggle bus there, but guess what? You can shoot this while moving as well. You can literally do pretty much anything you want if you have an outdoor place to shoot. Thank you guys for watching this. Hopefully some of you found this informative. Hopefully this will give you a good idea of a strategy to shoot it if you run into one in competition or with your buddies on the range. If you guys have any comments, anything else you'd like to see, be sure to drop them down below. And if you want to like and subscribe, appreciate it. And if you know a friend who could use this information, send it to them or don't.